Going back home just as soon as God break day. Going back home just as soon as the good Lord break his day. Whoa, you know this ain't no crazy.
Did you catch many?
We got heaps.
And I don't think
What kind of tadpoles are they?
Don't know, but we want to take some home. We've had them before. They eat fish food and lettuce. They're no trouble at all to keep. And when they are frogs, you can just let them go anywhere when you get sick of them.
We don't near get tadpoles from around here. Our dad saw some on the internet. Real expensive ones. They turn into brown frogs. You can only get them from the South Island.
Wow, that would be cool. The South Island is miles away. You must be rich.
Maybe that's not so cool, you guys. I heard it could be really bad if you got frogs from the internet or anywhere else around here. And it's bad to just let them go, too.
Why? They're just frogs and tadpoles. What could happen?
Not all tadpoles are the same, you know. Some turn into frogs that shouldn't live around here, and they can eat other frogs. But there is something that is much, much worse. Some kind of evil fungus that can make frogs sick or even die.
A fungus? What does it look like? Is it like a mushroom or a toadstool?
No, it's really little, I think. Really small. You need a microscope.
We did some detective work on the internet. We found someone who was selling tadpoles from Pond Te Araha in the North Island. We tracked their sales for over a year, and they sent tadpoles everywhere, all over New Zealand, up north, and even all the way down to Invercargill in the South Island. We don't know if these tadpoles have got the fungus or not.
It's pretty complicated. I wish I could explain it better.
Hello, I'm Morani, fairy frog mother, agent to the stars.
Hi.
Hi.
What stars?
Oh, you know, Toad of Toad Hall, Kermit the Frog, the Wide-Mouthed Frog, Crazy Frog, all the biggies.
Why don't you look like a frog?
You mean all this? Usual story. Prince, a kiss, and boom, there I was, a princess. I lived happily ever after for a while. That is until I started seeing all my froggy friends disappearing. I do a lot of amphibian social work now. What's this I hear about people buying tadpoles off the internet and letting frogs go willy-nilly?
It was just like something my dad said. He said it was easier than him bothering going out looking for them around here.
This is very troubling. Does anyone know how many kinds of frogs we have in New Zealand? This will not do. Take a look at this. As you can see, we have 4 native species. We call them Pekatua. And our native frogs are pretty special because they are unlike any other frogs in the whole wide world. For a start, they have round rather than slit eyes, and they hatch from eggs straight into almost fully formed frogs instead of being tadpoles in the water first. And they don't croak much. Who knows how to croak? Oh, no, enough of that. You will not find any of our native frogs making a racket like that. They prefer a kind of a high-pitched squeak.
Ronnie!
Oh, sorry, where was I? Oh, our natives are much like us fairy frog mothers. They are cryptic, which means they're very hard to find. And when they're threatened, they stay very, very still.
Do they do that to stop getting eaten?
They try to. Our frogs are a very old line of frogs. They go all the way back to the dinosaurs. They haven't changed much since. Once upon a time, they wouldn't even have to worry about getting eaten. But now, with rats and mice and even possums, they can all smell them all out. It would be good if they learned how to run away, but they don't. Like they say, you can't teach an old frog new tricks. So, if you bought tadpoles from the internet, would they be native frogs?
No, because it's against the law to have native frogs. And anyway, you just told us that native frogs don't have tadpoles like other frogs.
Exactly. So, the trouble with tadpoles is that they're not native frogs to start with, and that when you buy a tadpole from the internet, they can just end up about anywhere, just anywhere. See this brown one? It's the brown whistling tree frog. Normally it lives down on the South Island and also in some parts of the bottom of the North Island. So far, it doesn't live anywhere near where our native frogs are, which is a good thing, because this frog would really like to eat our native frogs.
Do the southern bell frogs and the golden bell frogs eat native frogs too?
Yes, they would if they could. We frogs have some rather bad habits, don't you know? But that is not the biggest problem we have to worry about. The biggest problem is this fungus that you guys need to learn more about. But first, we have to take a little magic trip. Hey, follow me!
Hi, Ronnie.
Hi, Stephanie.
So you and the children are here to learn about the fungus.
Yes, thank you. We hope you're not too busy.
Well, I am a bit frantic. I've got a tongue-tied tuatara, a sunburned skink, and a crate full of congested kiwi. But that's okay, I have a minute. Welcome. So, the amphibian chytrid fungus. Its real name is Batrachochytrium dendrobatidis. It causes this infectious disease in amphibians, and can I borrow that wand? Thank you. By the way, this fungus doesn't make mushrooms on frogs like you might think. Instead, it has small swimming spores that look a bit like tiny tadpoles, and they can swim around in water and get onto frogs and tadpoles. Later, the fungus gets under the skin and makes little sacs of spores that are like seeds. These get out into the water and make more of the little spores that can swim.
How would we know that the frog was sick with the fungus?
The fungus attacks the frog's skin, so a sick frog may have funny colored skin, or the skin might look like it's peeling off in places. Or sometimes the frog will just sit out in the open and not move when you approach it. Or maybe its back legs might not work very well and it'll try to move around by dragging them. This disease is really serious. We think it's been the cause of extinctions of amphibian species all over the world. So far, there is no way to stop this disease in the wild. Here you go. Thank you.
So where is the fungus in New Zealand?
Well, we know that it's in a lot of places in New Zealand in our non-native frogs, all the way from Dunedin through to Auckland. But it's also turned up in our native Archie's frog in the Coromandel, which means that could be the end for them. And this is why it's so important not to move tadpoles around the country, because the fungus is so hard to see on tadpoles.
We're trying to figure out a way to combat this disease so that hopefully, if we get a frog in here, we can cure it. So it's really important that if you see a sick frog or if you see a sick tadpole, that you tell your mom and dad, and that they can ring their vet, and that they can give us a call, and hopefully we can do something about it. You know, it's bad enough that the exotic frogs from Australia get sick and die. It'd be really bad if our native frogs got sick and died as well. You know, we need to keep this thing away from them.
Speaking of native frogs, we have one more place to visit before I get these children back to the pond. Ready?
Thanks, Stephanie. Bye.
Porque cantando se alegra el cielo y lindo.
About time, any frog father person. I was waiting for you. I can still use to eat the most beautiful frog in the pond, eh?
Eduardo, I bet you say that to all the toads.
Oh, not really.
Children, this is Senor Eduardo. He's the toad man from Mexico.
Buenas noches, señoras y señores. I think you may be wondering what is a Mexican doing on this native bush, on the beautiful bush. Well, let me tell you, I was a student of animals in your beautiful country, and I really wanted to study something big, something huge, like a shark or a whale or something like that. But in the day that I want to pick my animal, I missed the bus and I was a little bit late. So I end up with this tiny little frog like this, little tiny frog. And it wasn't too bad because if I was later, I would have ended up with a worm. But seriously, going back to the frogs, these frogs are tiny and they need our help. I can see them crying in the forest. Help! Help! Squeak! 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 You kids want to help?
Yes!
Yes, it's all good, kiddies. These frogs are really good at hiding. They hide from the dinosaurs and they hide from the moa and then even hide from the enormous extinct eagles. But these animals are all gone. They are not here anymore. But the frogs, they cannot hide from the roads that we build on the bush, and they cannot hide from the fungus that we can transport. Let's go into the bush and look for the frogs. Let's have some adventure. But first, we have to clean our feet because we can have the fungus with us. So, fairy frog mother person, did you bring the things? Ya vámonos a la casa. Epa, epa. So, one important thing to know about these frogs is that they like to hide under the rocks. All over these rocks, under the rocks they like to be. So, if people come and walk over the stream and just stumble on the rocks, on the flat rocks, on the nice rocks, you are putting in risk these frogs and you can squash them. So that's really bad. So if you come to the forest, it's better to stay up in the forest instead of walking on the bush. And if you walk through the stream, be careful of not stepping in loose rocks. Okay? So come on.
Ya no tienes en tu pecho el corazón, ya no tienes en tu pecho el corazón.
Oh look, it's the same colour as the rocks behind it, and its eyes are round, just like you said, fairy frog mother.
Frog people like Eduardo get permission to handle them, but they have to be very gentle because the skin is so soft and delicate. Because of our thin skin, we frogs pick up changes in the environment long before people do.
So you are very lucky, girl, because usually we're not allowed to touch these frogs. Only today, because today is a very special day. Today, 2 years ago, I kissed a frog and it turned out to be the frog fairy. And today is our anniversary. So, frog fairy, what are we having for dinner tonight? Green bugs again?
Oh yes, and dragonfly sauce.
Wow, a fairy frog princess and a Mexican all in one day.
I thought the little frog was cute. Kind of warty though. I don't know about kissing that.
I think I'll tell Dad not to get tadpoles off the internet. That fungus is pretty scary.
It's up to you to make the right choice. Say no to internet tadpoles. They're just too much trouble. Tell your friends to say no too.
I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. I'm crazy, crazy for feeling so blue. Oh, crazy for thinking that my life could hold you. Well, I'm crazy for trying